Alright guys, I have copied down several problems from your worksheet and I'm going to do as many of them as I can so that hopefully you have a pretty good understanding of this when you come into class on Thursday. So the first thing is you have a problem in number 1 and it says that we need to write the equation of a line that goes through the point 4, 4 and has a slope of 3/4. And what you're going to need is this equation here. M equals y minus the y number over x minus the x number. Those of you who have taken algebra before, this is actually the slope formula. Slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, except we're replacing the 1s and 2s with just regular y's and numbers, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So it's not a new formula. Mrs. Showers didn't invent it, and you'll get it on your ECA, so you don't really have to memorize it, but hopefully you will use it enough that you just automatically memorize it. Okay, so what we're going to do is everywhere that I have red, we are going to plug in one of the blue values from the original. So the first thing that I see here is the slope. Well, if I look in my information from the question, I know the slope. The slope is 3/4. That's right here. And then I'm going to set it equal to y minus, and I'm going to replace this y number with the y value that they gave us. So in this case it's 4. And then I have x minus the x number. So I'll go ahead and write x minus, and the x number they also gave us, ironically, it also happens to be 4. Now, if you remember from a few weeks ago, in order to solve this kind of problem, we're going to cross multiply. So we're going to take the 3 times this whole side, and we have to actually write that down. 3 times x minus 4, and then the other cross, 4 times y minus 4, and we set those equal to each other. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to distribute, not an unusual thing for us to do, so here I am, I'll distribute the 3, and I'll get 3x minus 12 equals, over here I'm going to distribute 4y minus 16. Now, in an equation, the variable that you're trying to get by itself is y. So you may want to make a note to yourself. Solve for y. And you probably looked at that last night when you studied section 5.3. So if I'm trying to get the y by itself, that's my variable. Well, what's the constant that's with my variable? Negative 16. So that's what I want to get rid of. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add 16 to both sides to get rid of it. Add it underneath the 12 because you can't actually add it to an x. So now I have 3x, negative 12 and 16. Since I have different signs, I'm going to subtract and I will get positive 4. And then equals 4y. Okay, I'm out of space, so I'm going to bring this up here. So I have 3x plus 4 is equal to 4y. All I did was copy it up there. And remember, I'm trying to get the y by itself, so the next thing I have to do is divide by 4. From the section on literal equations, we learned that you have to divide every part by 4. So these cancel each other out, and I'll have y by itself. Good. 4 over 4, well, that's the same as 1. And then here, I have a fraction that I can't reduce, so I'm going to write 3/4 x. Now the last thing that you should be able to do to check your work is your slope that you just wrote down, so the number in front of x, should match the slope that they gave you. Since it does, I'm pretty confident that this is the right answer. And you can go ahead and write it in slope-intercept form. So y equals 3/4 x plus 1. Same, this is equal to the purple equation I wrote down. I just rewrote it in a more standard form. Okay, let's look at the next one. So again, I have to use my formula. M equals y minus the y number over x minus the x number. So I'm going to start out and I'm going to plug in my value for m, and I will tell you that it's helpful just to go ahead and make it a fraction. So I'm going to make this negative 1 over 1. You can put anything over 1. Leave your y, and your y number is 1, and x minus your x number is negative 1, so when I plug that in, I'll go ahead and make that a plus 1 because I'll change the sign, a negative, negative. Now I'm going to do my crosses because I have two equal fractions. So I have 1 times y minus 1, and then I have negative 1 times x plus 1. Just like I did before, I have to distribute. Well, distributing a 1 isn't going to change it, so y minus 1 is equal to negative x minus 1. Again, I'm trying to solve for y, so I'm trying to get the y by itself. I see that they're minusing a 1 from the y, so the opposite is to add 1. And when you do, you'll get y equals negative x plus 0, and you don't have to write plus 0. So again, look at your slope here. So if I look, my slope is negative 1, which is what it was from the original problem. Okay, question 3. Same setup, even though I have a 0. We don't worry, zeros aren't any different than anything else. So I'm going to write my slope, m equals y minus the y number over x minus the x number. My slope is 1/5 y minus the y number from the problem. So negative 5 becomes a positive 5. And x minus the x number is 0. You can write a 0 if you want to, but you really don't have to. So I'm just going to save myself the time and not write it. Now I'm going to cross multiply, so I have 5 times y plus 5. And then on the other side I have 1 times x. And you can just write 1x. So I still have to distribute. So I have 5y plus 25 is equal to 1x. I'm trying to solve for y, so I have to get rid of the 25, so I'm going to minus 25. And I can't combine an x and a 25 here, so I have to write my 5y, that's a y, and then I'll just write 1x, or x minus 25. Again, I'm out of room, so I'm going to move up here. 5y equals x minus 25. So the last step to get y by itself is divide by 5. These cancel out, and I just have a y. The number in front of x is going to be a 1, so you're going to write 1/5 x, and then negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5. So again, check your slope. Your slope is 1/5, and if you look, that's what it was from the original, so you're pretty sure that it's right. Okay, now I think I'll have time for this one, and then I'm probably going to have to make a second video. Since this one doesn't give me the slope, the first thing that I have to do is find the slope. If they don't give it to me, I have to go find it. So we're going to use our regular method. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stack and subtract them. So I have 3 and 5 and 0 and negative 3. They're stacked on top of each other. Now I'm going to subtract both of them, which means I change the sign. 5 and 3 makes 8, and on the bottom 3 minus 0 is 3. So my slope is 8 over 3. I'm going to use that in my equation, so m equals y minus the y number over x minus the x number. So 8/3 is equal to y minus, now which y number do I pick? Because I actually have two of them. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the negative 3, so I'll make that a plus 3. And I'll have x minus 0, which you don't have to write. Then when I distribute this, I'm going to have 3 times y plus 3 equals 8 times x. So 3y plus 9 is equal to 8x. Then I'm going to have to subtract 9. And I'll have 3y equals 8x minus 9. And then I'll divide every part by 3. So I'll have y equals 8 over 3x minus 3.